What's up, gamers? Today we're going to be going through the bond tanks and which ones are good, which ones aren't so good, and where should you spend your bonds if you don't have a premium tank. And today's video is sponsored by me, so hit that subscribe button. Just a bit of quick information here. The tier 10s up here are not premium tanks, they're more like reward tanks. The same with, pretty sure, this tier 9. It's not a premium tank like the tier 8, so they will not make you extra credits, whereas the T103, 252U, I6, etc. like that, they will net you extra credits. So keep that in mind. These are rewards and these are premiums. So I'm going to start with the tier 10s and get them out of the way, and then we'll go through the tier 8s, which is probably why you're here. So the M60. The M60 is a very good tank. It has a really good gun handling at 0.32 and an aim time 1.5. 268 pen, 390 average damage. It has good armor for a turret armor. Its hull armor it's tier 10. It's going to get penetrated at it's quite flat, as you can see. But you do have this big R2D2 on top of your tank, so you kind of have to sort of angle it like that and use the gun depression of -9. But its DPM 2.7 probably goes up to about 3k with all the equipment. Very good tank overall. If you've got 15,000 bonds, the M60 and the 121B, if you want a tier 10, would be the ones to buy. The 268 version 5 is a bit of a troll. It just has a big gun. 303 pen, 750 alpha damage. But it can be a bit derpy, and its armor for its level, I don't think it's the strongest. Like, it could be a lot better. Let's move back. The 113, I wouldn't even bother. It's not worth it. Why would you buy it? You can also, I'm pretty sure, go to collector's tanks and buy a 113 credits. So save yourself the bonds and keep 15k bonds for yourself. But honestly, it's probably not worth it, honestly. 121B, I'd probably say, is the best one on here. 0.32. 3k DPM probably goes up to 3.3ish when you're fully loaded. 420 without any crew skills. Decent camo, especially when you put a crew on there. It's got 330. It has 350 heat and 261 average. So, no, 260 normal. Probably the best tank on here, honestly. The only letdown on here is 5 degrees of gun depression. You're gonna struggle to use it all the time, but if you're a good player, it will be a good tank. I'll try and make this reasonably quick because you don't need to hang around so much on here. The FOCH 155, a 3-clip autoloader, but it is very derpy. You will probably hit 1 out of 3. It takes ages to aim, but when it hits, it does hit very hard. And if you can hit everybody with a full clip, it's 750 times 3. So pretty much every tank will die, but you have to hit it. The FB215B. Now these have dropped. These are 12k each, not 15. This used to be the old tier 10 British heavy tank, and it is, I'm pretty sure, the most accurate and highest DPM heavy tank in the game. Now, is it any good? It can side scrape, but it's still got the general cupola weak point on the top, and it gets set on fire and its engines sit at the front. So, not really, no. You'll probably get set on fire more than you ever think you will. Now, the WZ-114 is a new tank to the list, along with some of the others. It's a very good hold down, 300mm at the front. Really good gun depression for a heavy tank at 10 degrees, but the letdown of it, the DPM. The DPM, you're doing 1.6k at tier 9. Now, if I compare that to something like a fully loaded E75, 1.6, 2.4, 800 less. So, you know, it's not the best inside of DPM. But, nonetheless, it can still be decent. It has reasonable accuracy at 0.32, 266 pen. For its standard rounds, 311, so it's quite similar to the E75 gun, just has more standard pen. But very, very low DPM. Actually, on here it says 1.5, so not sure how they're getting 1.658 over here. The Chieftain T95. No, don't get this confused with the reward Chieftain, Clan Wars Chieftain, because you'll be disappointed. It's okay, but it does have the big R2D2 on top again. Very easily penned. Hull armor. Obviously, if you hit the front, sure, lower plate's quite big. Has decent DPM at 2k. Is it decent DPM? It is sort of in the middle, sort of on the low end. We compare that to a fellow tier 8 like Kampfpanzer. It's pushing 3k. So it is quite low. Even the other guard, that's 1.9. What else we want to compare it to? The Pershing, 2.1. So yeah, they're, you know, it's on the low end of them all. Let's jump back to this. These are also 10k for a tier 8 as they are new. I imagine they probably will drop in the future as they add more. I'd like to think. But the IS-5 has a couple of weak spots, I believe, which one I think is here and here. I think the roof. They can be overmatched. Can't remember exactly how much by though. But nonetheless, it does have decent armor of 300 mil, but you can pen different parts that are a lot weaker, and then it just has a standard D25. It's not the 175 pen, but it is the 221. But your accuracy is very, very poor at 0.46, which is very low. You are going to be missing a lot of shots. A lot of shots. IS-5. The Chaos... The KV4. It's actually the KV4. I think it's Krzyzlowski? Something like that. Someone will correct me in the comments. It has a 1.7, 227 pen, 320. It's very good at side scraping. It's got decent armor all around. The side of it is 125 millimeters thick. It's 5 millimeters more thick than an E75. So side scraping, turret is 160, 200. You can side scrape in this thing and do extremely well. Just watch the cupola on top. 0.36 accuracy, so it's okay. Obviously, it is only 7 degrees gun depression because it's sort of a very mid-mounted turret. It's how I imagine most people would draw a tank. So, but DPM reasonably low, only 1.7. So you're probably hitting the 2k barrier once fully loaded. Now the Object 252U has really good trollish armor. This is basically a defender. Has a tier 9 gun, 225, 440 alpha damage. Still low DPM of 1.8, 0.42 accuracy. Probably, you know, if you've got bonds laying about and you're happy to spend them, and you don't have some of the other tanks that I'll recommend shortly, then yeah, go for it. Definitely go for it. It'll make you some okay credits. Something like the 103 is probably something that would make you decent credits. 2.5 average damage per minute, 250 pen at tier 8, 440 alpha damage, tier 10 gun, 0.36 accuracy, so you can get that up. It's got a fully traversable turret, and it does actually have decent armor, to be fair, for a turret. It says 220, but it's all quite rounded, so if you hit the front, you are ricocheting it. Little weak point on top, which most tanks should have. If you want to be a bit trollish, it actually has decent view range, 380. Top speed's 40, so it's got mobile 900 engine. Is no camo, don't worry about that. I would kind of play this as an assault tank destroyer. It says sniper. I would use it as getting close. Use it as basically a heavy tank. Use that as a heavy tank. Take the big old gun and go and trade with people. 440 alpha damage. Tier 8s aren't hitting out that, so that will go and make you a fair amount of credits. These tier 8s are the ones that are going to make you credits. IS-6B. Now, the IS-6B has good armor, but it's pen. You're going to be firing a lot of gold. It only has 196 pen. So you're sort of pushing back down into tier 8 to down to the tier 7 with the gun. You're going to fire a lot of gold. That's all I can say. And it's not very accurate. So when you do miss, it's probably costing you a fair amount of money. So I would not recommend the IS-6B. Same with the STRV though. You know, it has good view range. It's just really big. Camo is not very good. It has good gun depression, and for the price of it, I would just pick something else, because 226 pen and 230 is decent, but only 1.9, or on the gun 1.8 DPM is not what I would do. Now we have KV5. KV5 is just the trolls. You've got huge amounts of armor, 190, 180, 2 R2D2s. You even have 140 rear armor, 140 for the rear. And then it's just 190 and 180. So it's just very, very, very heavily armored tank. Bad gun, 196 pen, 300 damage. Same as the I6B, but I would rather be in this because this thing weighs 100 tons. And it shifts. 1200 horsepower, 40 up, 40 speed, ram. Build it as a ramming tank and just go have fun. Put it in a platoon and off you go. Very, very simple. The M46 KR. Now, these sort of tanks is like, it's basically a Pershing, but with a slightly worse gun. Really? That's all it is to say. It's basically a Pershing, but a worse gun. So, would I recommend it? No. The SENLAC, don't even bother. It's bad. It's just not a very good scout. Don't get this when, I'll do it now before I forget. Why would you buy the SENLAC? Okay, it has 410 view range, and the camo will be fine on it. 2k DPM, it's okay. It's, you know, it's got a 20 pounder, 189, 90mm of HE pen, but at the same point of that, you could take that, or you could take the Black Dog. Now, the Black Dog, 2.3k DPM, I believe it's 102 HE pen, so there's another 12 on top. It's faster. Its view range is 400 meters as a base, but if I return my crew to it, and I also have food in it these days, my light tanks, we are up to 437, and this has no slot. So if you were to put in, let's say, optics, you're pushing 448, and obviously you can put in commander's vision, a low noise exhaust. Let's put that in slot 1 and then transfer those over like that. You're at 36, so you've hit the 36% threshold that you need to, and 481. Let's cancel that because we don't want to add that to anything, and I haven't been playing it, so let's demount this. So yeah, definitely if you want a light tank, buy the M4190 GF. The Black Dog is definitely going to be the tank that you will buy or want. The Chrysler GF is very, very hit and miss tank. Now, if you side scrape in it, they're not going to be able to pin you. It's got very good hull armor, very good side scraping potential because it's a rear mounted turret. Obviously, you get more gun depression over the side of the tank than you do the front, so it does always work out. If you can face hug people like this and get right up in their face, they can't pin you. This is going to be a bounce at 152mm, and this is 254, but it's all angled, so you know there is a weak point on top. The gun, it's a bit of a letdown. It's the 198 320. You can fire a bit of gold, put you up to 260, which is massive to be honest. DPM, you're probably going to do, it says 1.9, so you'll probably push out about 2.2. But you're just going to block a lot of damage. I would recommend doing the blocked missions probably in that tank. That's definitely the tank I would do it in. If you're not doing it in something like an E3 or anything like that. Where do we get up to? We got up to Chrysler. This is basically, they're just prints. There's like 3 of these. The M41D is just the Chinese version. It has a way less gun, 192 pen, 410. It's basically to get the Black Dog. It's got the way better gun. Wouldn't recommend that. Now, the Libertate, I actually had the Libertate, and when one of the trade-in events come in, I traded it in for, I think, like another 1,000 gold or something, and got a 50 TP prototype. But this would be one of the tanks I recommend that you go and buy if you're looking to get a premium tank to make money. It has amazing armor. You want to come around the corner and just stick this out, because these, even the lower plate is very strong. It's very strong. The gun's actually not bad. It's 232 pen and 300 alpha damage. It's a little bit on the low side for the DPM, but your armor can hold up and you get a lot of HP for a tank, and it weighs 70 tons. So if you need to shift and ram somebody, you can. As you can see, I've got 1 mark on it so far. Definitely a good tank. Definitely worth a buy. Don't side scrape in it because this becomes flat. If this becomes flat, it will get an auto pen. Obviously, you do have a cupola for weak point, so try to come around the corner on this side of the tank and show that only if you can. They will bounce, stick it out, they will bounce because that is very, very well angled. Look how far that goes down, and this is just really hard to pen anyway, and this counts as extra armor, I believe. So the Libertate is one of the ones I recommend. The next one that I recommend is, I already bought it, so it's not on the list. And I also have another video which I will leave down in the description. This is probably the best bond tank if you want credits. I've done the marking on it. 2000 average game. It's just very good. It's cheap. There's a whole video on it. I'll let you go and watch that. But in short, the hull armor is not very good. You sacrifice the hull armor of what the Liberté has, and you gain a lot more of a bouncy turret. Now, when you meet tier 10s, they will just put gold straight through it, so do be wary of that. But at the same point, to make money in this tank, it's 255 for your standard shell, and it's APCR with 230 pen. And I've got 2.5k DPM and 0.31 accuracy. And you have 10 degrees of gun depression. I would say this is probably the best bond tank out there, especially if you want to make credits. So they would be the two I'd do. The LORRAINE. Now the LORRAINE is a auto reloader, has excellent gun on it for 232 pen, 300 average damage with a clip. So you're doing 1200 in its clip, but it's a support tank. You must play as a support. Even it says here, I'll agree with them, because you have a 36-second reload. If you are firing and then you empty the clip, and if you don't clip the person out, you're going to be in trouble. You've got 36 seconds to reload and you don't have that much health. You've got 1300 HP and armor's non-existent. You're 45 and 40 millimeters, so you are basically the big glass cannon. Would not recommend if you are an inexperienced player. If you're experienced, you probably don't even need to watch the video. So the T-34-3, now this is actually a tank that's gone up in my view. It has the D25 TA again, so the 196 pen, 390 damage. It has 6.5 degrees of gun depression, so it's a little bit better than the 5 degrees that you generally see in these types of tanks. Very bouncy, very, very, very bouncy turret. It's 200 millimeters. And same with the hull armor, actually. You can get some decent bounces off the front of this tank. Now, this would be probably one of the next ones I would buy, because it's a very good medium tank. Very good flanker, you know, putting shots in the side, slapping people for 390 average damage. And it has 1800. It's a little bit derpy, 0.4. You'd be able to lower that down, especially with the field mods, things like that. Probably definitely vertical stabilizers as well. Very good tank. Is decent at making money, I do believe. The MUTZ to me always just feels like an Indian Panzer. It has the same gun, its turret is slightly less, and you have really big cupolas on top. So it's kind of like, would you buy the MUTZ? It's not bad, it's not great. It's just an average tank in an average game. I don't think you're going to be, you know, excelling in a MUTZ. I've never seen a MUTZ do really well. Alpine Tiger, yeah, it gets a really cool camo of a tiger on it, which is actually 3D built, I guess, if you want that. The D25 TA, again, this is very common with the Chinese getting that, and Russian is getting the D25, which is the all famous 175 390 average damage gun that's been around for 10 years. Is the same, 0.4, 0.9. Has good good armor though, but not something I would recommend really. There are better tanks out there. If you don't have them and you're getting towards the end, just buy what you like. This used to be a clan rewards event tank. Now we're into tier 7. These are all 6,000, and it's kind of like, for 6k, would I say buy this or the IS-2, and then 5k for the Tiger. These are tier. Let's do the tier 7s. The T-23. It's a good tank. It's a good tank. It has the M1A gun on it. So, but at the same point, would I say buy this over a T20 or something like that? No, probably not. I wouldn't spend 6k bonds on it. I'd save the extra 2,000 bonds and go and buy myself a Libertate or a Bulldog or a Lorraine 40T or a Chrysler. There are many, many more tanks that you can buy that's for 6,000 bonds. Same with the IS-2. The IS-2 is pretty much identical. There you go. There's the famous D25T, B175. This is identical to the IS and the other IS you get in the tech tree, IS-2. They're identical. This has a slightly worse turret traverse speed, which is not, you're not really going to notice it. So, would not recommend. Definitely would not recommend going and buying 6,000 bonds. The Tiger, these are all tier 6 premiums. Would I bother? Probably not. Tiger 131. You can normally get that from events. I believe they did some drops or something like that recently. You could get the Tiger 131. It's okay. The box tank is just a meme. It's a tier 6 tank with a really big gun on it. 440, 196. Go and trade. Weighs a lot. But at the same point, it's a great gun on a really, really bad platform. That's all I can say about that. It doesn't do very well. Maybe if you had a platoon of 3 of them, you could just sit there, wait for people to come on the corner, boom, one shot. They're all gone. Very much a platoon tank. Panzer IV-S. Probably good at seal clubbing. I don't really know a whole lot about the lower tier ones because I don't really play lower tiers. But 2k DPM down at that rate, 0.31, 8 degrees gun depression, 120 turret armor at tier 6. I would probably say this is pretty good down at that level. Sorry about the info for down here. I don't know a whole lot about these. Tier 5, I believe the Panzer IV are pretty much always the same. They don't really change. The T-34 wouldn't bother for 1,500. The only thing I'd recommend down here is this. The M10. It's literally, for seal clubbers, is like a wet dream for them. They love it. 130. Pen at that level, 170 in gold for tier 5, like 2.2k DPM, probably going up to 2,500. 10 degrees of gun depression, decent camo, especially if you put a camo crew on it. You put some vents, not vents, put some optics on it, raise that up 370, put some food, amazing crew, and you're off. You can go seal clubbing to pigs start flying. So that would be the only one. And 1,500 bonds, like 1,500 bonds is nothing. You get that in a what's it called? In one event. And so yeah, M10, 1,500. You just go buy it. Go have some fun in it. The guard is what's left. This is the other tank I do have. It's very accurate. And it's very low profile, so you do get really good camo, 23%. And this is without a camo crew. I would personally, because, is this actually the guard? No, this is my T-54 crew. If I didn't have it, I would have camo here. Then I would have probably, I think I'd have 3 lots of camo, intuition, and then I would have the other brothers in arms, the other camo here, and then these ones are as it is, and then repairs. That is how I would have it if you were solely playing this tank. But because it is my T-54 crew, I've got repairs and brothers in arms and stuff like that already on it before the crew changes. Would I recommend it? It's a hard tank to play. It says 0.3 accuracy, but I seem to miss a lot in it, so it has left me to demounting some equipment as I do need it. But it can make you good credits. 212 for 390 pen. It is good. It's okay at being front, like keeping it to the front, but I think staying hidden is probably its main goal, and then just sniping them out and hopefully hitting the accurate shots. Probably isn't the best way to describe that tank, but I do like the guard, and these are the 3 tanks I have, and I do like them. I'd probably swap out these days. Obviously I did have a Libertate, like I said, and I've traded that in, so Trading the Guardian would be something else I would look at doing. If I had the Libertate back, the next tank that I would probably come along and buy, if we're just talking tier 8 premiums, would be the T-34-3. I think that would be the tank I'd come in for. Maybe the Chrysler. They would be the next two I would probably buy. But if bonds weren't, you know, scarce, 11,000 bonds, if you wanted a tier 10, 121B, definitely. And the M60, they're going to be the most consistent tanks for tier 10s. But like I said, they are bond tanks, but they're pretty much reward. Right, I think that is all of the bond tanks done. I'm going to hopefully edit this video now at 12. Hopefully it'll be up in a few hours' time. So it's the 8th, and it's about half an hour video long, so it shouldn't take too long. But if you like the video, please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe. We are on the brink of hitting 400 subscribers. So if we can get to 400, the goal is 500 by the end of the month. I want to see if I can hit 500 subscribers by the 31st of July. Let's get it. On another note, if you disagree with anything or agree with something, go into the comments, let me know. I reply to every single one of them. And if you don't have anything to say, just go down in the comments and leave an emoji, because engagement.